Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well, holding up well. Today's Friday. It's Happy Friday. Hope you're at least the tiniest bit happy. There's a lot of upset people today, frustrated people, angry people. We'll discuss the markets. I'll give my thoughts and opinions on the bloodbath today. But if you've been in the Power Group private community, we've been discussing 514, 510 on the S&P 500, specifically on SPY for a while now. So you were given multiple weeks heads up so that you can prepare both mentally and financially. So, give it another 30 seconds or so. We'll give it another half a minute for people to jump on. Let us know where you're tuning in from in the live chat. I see we have a dozen or so people on the live stream so far. So welcome, welcome. We're going to get started here in about 15 seconds. All right, welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, everybody. It's Rod with Pow Group. It's Friday, April 4th. We're going to jump into the live stream. We'll discuss the state of the union, state of the market. Is this the end of a 5-year bull market? I think so. We've pretty much seen everything that we needed to see. I mentioned multiple times that if we lose the monthly uptrend or confirm a monthly downtrend, that's going to be the signal that the end is near. And while we haven't yet confirmed a monthly downtrend, we did lose the monthly uptrend today on the S&P 500. So it's not looking good, but nothing goes in a straight line forever. Nothing goes straight up forever, or nothing goes in a bull market forever, right? We've been in a 5-year bull market really since 2020. And if you look at what the S&P 500 has achieved over the last 5 years, we're up about 180% since the low of March 2020. The average return on the S&P 500 is somewhere around 10 to 14% on average. So if you think about that, we should only be up like 70% in 5 years, right? So if we're up 180% on the S&P 500 in 5 years, why are people surprised about today's market pullback? And this is nothing. It's going to get way worse than this, right? Like it's still, we're still at 500 on SPY. Like if you would have told people back in 2020 that we'd be at 500 on SPY, they would look at you like you had a third eye or something, right? But once it happens, of course, it always seems impossible until it happens, right? But I'll give my thoughts and opinions. If anybody does have any questions, thoughts, opinions, if you want to vent, by all means, go ahead and type it in the live chat. But hope everyone's doing well. I know it's not easy. I've been mentioning multiple times now that I have in my retirement account, I have 95% money market fund. There's no coincidence that Warren Buffett is sitting on records amounts of cash. He's also in money market type funds. And I saw somebody post on X today that, oh my God, Warren Buffett perfectly timed the top. No, he is the top, right? JP Morgan, all of these companies, they are the top, right? They're all in cahoots. And it's not they timed the top, it's they are the top. When they sell, that is the top. So we'll jump right into the chart here in just a moment. Before we do, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. As always, not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. You can follow us over on X as well, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. So we're seeing crypto really stand out here from the rest of the pack. We're seeing it shine. It's a store of value. It's sort of like a safe haven at the moment. We also have crypto legislation really any time now where we could see a stablecoin bill, the Genius Act. We could see market structure bill, what's going to give clarity on what is what, right? What's a commodity? What's a security? What's a utility token, et cetera, a stablecoin. So I think the reason why crypto is so strong right now is because most people know that there's going to be clear rules of the road coming very, very soon. Something that the industry has been lacking in the US is regulatory certainty, right? And just like the internet in 1996, when it got, its clarity, it was the rest is history, right? It never looked back. So I think something similar is on the cusp here for crypto. But overall, sitting pretty here on Bitcoin, 84,000. XRP still well above $2, which is pretty crazy to think about. XRP is my largest crypto holding by far. It's over 80% of my crypto portfolio holding. And I don't own any Bitcoin. I sold it back in 2021 around 50,000. Even if it hit 100K, who cares? It's only 100% gain, right? I was able to buy XRP with those profits, and XRP is up from 40 cents, right? I've got an average of 40 cents. It's over $2. So the risk versus reward, way more favoring reward with an asset like XRP right now, right? Bitcoin at 80,000. Even if it doubles and goes to 160,000 from here, who cares, right? It's 100. It's kind of funny when you think about it. It's like, oh, who cares about 100%, right? But yet the S&P 500 since March 2020 is up 180%, and people think it's the best thing ever. But look at that, from March 2020 to the all-time high here over 600, it was up. It's about 182, 183%. So again, the S&P 500 is only accustomed to somewhere around that 10% a year per annum, right? So by this logic, we should only be up 50 to 70% max, right? Which would put us somewhere around, 300, 375. I do think that we're going to drop down into the 300s again. I think, this previous high here will definitely be tested at 479. There was a double top, so that old resistance could become new support. We closed at the low of the week, low of the day, not looking good whatsoever. I mentioned that we had a weekly bear flag. We confirmed that, perfection. And you take your measured move here from the high to the low, move it out to your 0.32 fib. I did not think it was going to happen this quickly though. And it said 514 was the target. And whoops. And today we hit, like I said, we hit 505. That's how quickly things can change, folks, right? So many people they don't think that this is possible. When I said 514, people looked at me like I was crazy. They said I was crazy. It always seems impossible until it happens. So it doesn't matter how many times people go through this either. They get complacent and they think that it's never going to happen to them, or it's going to be different this time, right? Very, very dangerous words to live by. And, I have to tell people, this is not even bad at all, right? We're just back into August 2024 prices. So this is not that bad of a pullback, right? And I know people don't want to hear that because it's going to get much worse. Like I've been saying for probably a year now, maybe even 2 years, this is going to be one of the worst market crashes in history. And I literally have a video how I'm preparing. If I search how I'm preparing for one of the worst stock market crashes in history. This was 2 years ago that I posted this video. Okay. So there's a reason why I'm 95% money market fund, and I have been for multiple years. I'm not giving back any of this money that I made since 2020, right? Why would I? I've had life-changing wealth in my retirement account. There's a reason why I'm 95% money market, is because I knew that this would all come to an end eventually. And a lot of people, we were talking about this in the Pow Group private community today. Now that the prices are bearish, people want to turn bearish, but now we should be turning bullish, right? Just short term speaking. So if you look at the S&P 500 here, we're doing SPX. This is not factoring in dividends, and it's a little bit cleaner on the chart. If we go from the low to the high here, we had a monthly bull flag that confirmed to perfection. We just adjust that a little bit. So we held the 0.32 fib. We didn't even really dip below the 0.236. It was a very short dip and monthly bull flag that confirmed. You just take your measured move there from the low to the high, move it out to your 0.32 fib, and the target was 6,200. We hit 61.47. So essentially 614 if it was on SPY, right? So that's where you want to go short, right? That's where you want to short the market. That's where you want to bet against the market. I see tons of people saying today, how do I short? Should I buy SPXS? Should I just, buy regular short shares, right? Should I buy SQQQ? Well, again, if we bring up QQQ, the time to go short was on the monthly bull flag. You want to go short at resistance and long at support. You want to sell and go short at resistance and buy near support, right? And go long. Most people get it the other way. And again, today, like I said, I think I had probably 2 or 3 people ask me if now was a good time to short the market. Well, we just pulled back on QQQ. We're now down about almost 22%, right? If we take a look at SPY from the all-time high to the low of the day today, this thing's down about 17%. So no, it's not. We're probably due for a relief rally at this point, right? We're probably due for a pretty big bounce, and then we could confirm a monthly downtrend. But what I've been saying for a while now is if we either lose the monthly uptrend or confirm a monthly downtrend, that's when, sound the alarm. And I should have cued the alarm sound, because this is very alarming, right? We're at the low of the week, low of the day, not good at all. And we had key support there at 510. We lost 510. We're no longer in a monthly uptrend now. Now we could see a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross. They're very, very far away from crossing, so we're more than likely due to bottom out somewhere around here, like 479. Like I said, that double top of previous all-time high could become new support, old resistance into new support. That makes a lot of sense, right? And then we'll probably bounce, but here would be the line to be expecting a bounce off of, right? and we would more than likely come down, form a lower high, and then a lower low. If we get the lower high and a lower low, that's a monthly downtrend, and we could be heading down to around 400 to 300s, right? Like I really do think that that is a possibility. And I drew this. Let me just bring up the Power Group private community here. Where was it? I mentioned this. I don't know how long I've been talking about this. It's been a long time. So I drew this. I took, okay, so what is the closest thing that we have to this bubble of 2025? What is the closest thing? And what's been leading the market? Big tech, right? So what's the closest thing that we can compare this to? The dot-com bubble, right? That was a huge bubble, right? But relatively speaking. So now, if we look at this bubble, I would say this is the biggest bubble we've ever been in. Look at how similar this is following the dot-com fractal. I took the boom and bust. This is the bust. The blue bars are the fractal from the dot-com days. Look how closely we're following it already, right? And it's saying we could go down into the low 300s. Just 1 second. Airbnb guest checking in. All right, sorry about that. Just had to buzz my Airbnb guest in. So yeah, if we were to see, somewhere around a 50% correction, which I think is very possible, that'd put us down into around the high twos, right? Somewhere around 275. So again, people thought I was crazy. People didn't think that was going to happen. I mentioned, how long ago did I mention? I said here, SPY about 4.75% away. This was yesterday. I said SPY about 4.75% away from the weekly bear flag target of 514. And this was when the price was at 540. And then the next day, it dropped to 505, right? People thought I was crazy. Everybody thinks it's impossible until it happens, and then it doesn't seem so crazy. But yeah, if we just go back here, SPY starting monthly daily consolidation. Yeah, we had GME was super strong today as well. But I just want to see if I can find where I initially set it. Yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of chatter that goes on in the Power Group private community. I'm not going to be able to find it here in effort of time, but I mentioned it at least a couple of weeks ago now. If you take a look at SPY here, we had a weekly bear flag forming 2 weeks ago, 2 candles ago. And I mentioned if we start the weekly bounce here, anything under 575 is a potential bear flag. And then once we came down and lost 549, that confirmed it. And we also had the EMA 12 and 26 bear cross rather. And there was a POW algo sell alert that went off on SPY and QQQ as well. So all of these things, they add up, and we call it confluence, right? But like I said, EMA 12 and 26 bear cross. We lost the 10-week moving average, right? This was a huge red flag here as well. So again, weekly EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, weekly downtrend, weekly bear flag, monthly consolidation, lost the 10-week moving average, stochastic RSI bear cross, MACD bear cross. We lost the 50 weekly. Now we're testing the 100 weekly. And again, when you get extended of these moving averages, what is normally the case? Look what happens. You usually gravitate back towards them. Act as support, flip it into resistance, rejected, resistance, come down, act as support, bounce, again, get extended to the upside, come back, gravitate back towards it. Same thing here. We got extended to the upside. Did everybody think it was just going to go up that straight forever? And we were never going to come back and test these moving averages, right? No, that's not how things work. Daily time frame. We just we're very close to seeing a death cross. The 50 and the 100 day just crossed. That's bearish. And now we could potentially come back and see a massive bounce on the daily time frame, I would say over the next couple of days. And then we could see the 50 and the 200 cross, and that would be a death cross. So all of these things pointing to massive downside. And yeah, it's no matter how much I come on here and I tell people that, we need to be cautious, I still have people telling me that they're surprised today by this market pullback, right? And it's not even that bad of a pullback. I remember back here when we were at 218 on SPY, and we got up here to around 300 right here, and we tested the previous all-time high, and this was after C19. So many people, right? All the gurus, all the YouTube analysts were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it's at 300 and people are buying this thing. I'll easily short this at 300, no problem," right? And then it just turns every single bear into a bull, and then we go to 479. We see a massive correction here into 2022. And then we end up going up north of 600. So it can always go higher than you think, and it can always go lower than you think, right? And I remember everybody and their dog saying, "Oh, I can't believe people are buying this crap at 300, and here it goes to 600," right? And monthly overbought as well. Let's just bring up the RSI here real quick. So this indicator alone, and I didn't have it on there. Apologies for not having it on there already, but you can see how I added here. So just get rid of that, change that. There we go. I've been saying this for many, many months as well. It's called hidden RSI bear divergence. So the price is trending with higher highs and higher lows. And you can see here from 2018, we've been on a downtrend. So we've been downtrending with lower highs and lower lows on the RSI. That's called hidden bearish RSI divergence. So the same thing happened with Tesla not too long ago. And now we're halfway to monthly oversold. So if you know nothing about stocks or when is a good time to buy, when's a bad time to buy, if you just buy when we're near oversold or in this territory here, you'll do better than 99% of retail investors. And then if certainly you don't want to be buying here, right? That's when you're monthly overbought. Why in God's green earth would you want to be buying when we're monthly overbought on the RSI, right? You look like a genius for a while, but then you get absolutely decimated, right? And like I said, if we're going to monthly oversold, which I think we will, similar to what happened after the dot-com boom and bust, right? This is the fractal that I was showing earlier. Same thing happened here, right? We had higher lows and higher highs, hidden RSI bearish divergence. Eventually, something's got to give, right? We broke off and then we formed lower highs, dead cat bounce, monthly downtrend confirmed, monthly oversold, right? How long did it take to go from 2018 to monthly oversold? Or sorry, this was 1996. How long did it take from 1996 to monthly oversold? Took 2,300 days. We'll say 2,300 days. So let's get an idea of what that could potentially look like. 2,300 days, we're already over that. So this could get really ugly very, very fast. And today was an example of that. Just because something happened in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen again, but it could rhyme. And, you know, with all I think the reason why it's taking longer this time is because all the artificial money printing, right? The Fed was buying stocks and securities, and that's not something that happened back here, right? In the dot-com days. So that's why I think it's different this time. But with that being said, this sell-off could accelerate very, 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 very quickly, and we could easily be down into 300s. No problem. And that's when I might start to put back some of my money market back. I'm 95% money market in my retirement account. I'm not giving back any of these gains. I'm in capital preservation mode, and I'm going to be looking for a massive discount. I'm going to be looking to switch my money back into out of money market into high risk, somewhere around the 300s, maybe even into the 2s. But that could be 2026, right? Before that happens. But who knows? After a day like today, it can happen very, very quickly. Jatinder says, hello, Rod. Thank you for coming on live. Which crypto coin would you add now? Thank you. We also have Mr. Mankey, 2 VIP members. Welcome, welcome. Crazy, but not surprised. Yeah, it's you have to match the bullishness with the bearishness. We've been raging bull mode since 2020. What if you're that bullish? If you're super aggressively bullish, you have to be aggressively bearish once the tides start to shift, right? And we're finally seeing a glimpse of that. But Jatinder, let's take a look here for you. So in terms of crypto overall, held up pretty well today. Doge, you got Sol and XRP in the green, and you've got Solo, EOS, and XLM, pretty much the only ones in the red today. Which coin? It's such a broad question, right? I don't know if you own any of the coins. I don't know if you're heavy on one. Like there's like a million different reasons why it would change the answer, right? Like if you own like $5 million worth of XRP, well, I'm probably not going to tell you to buy XRP, right? If you own no XRP, well, that's very different, right? You can already see the scenarios and the factors that would play into that. If your question is which one do you think is the best for like returns in the near future? I really like Filecoin. This thing's at near all-time lows, and this thing was once at 236 bucks. I like the technology. I think there's going to be a lot of use for it. And like I said, remember, when you're in this area, it's not a bad time to buy. Not a great time to buy when you're here, though, right? So this thing If we even go back to the highs of March 2024, that's a 300% move. If we go back to the all-time high, that's about a 82x, right? So $1,000 investment into $80,000. Most you can lose is $1,000. I think that one's probably the best risk versus reward at the moment. XLM also looking pretty decent here. XDC, I don't think you can go wrong with that. Flare's a really undervalued one at the moment as well. But the reason why I'd be cautious with this one is because they're still doing airdrops. I think we have about a year left. So each month I have Flare holdings. I get free money essentially. They airdrop me X amount of free coins, and that's just because they're rolling out the supply, right? So they're distributing the supply, and they're doing it in a programmed and slow way, right? They release a certain amount each month. So that means sell pressure, right? If supply is hitting the market, that's more piece of the pie, right? So it's causing that sell pressure. So I would maybe just be very slow to add this one, just kind of nibble at it. But over the next 6 to 8 months, I think we could potentially see a massive move as traders start to position themselves for that inevitable airdrop to finish. And then after then, I think this is a very promising name. I think this could easily go to $100 one day. Again, not financial advice. Or sorry, not $100. Well, yeah, maybe you could go to $100, but I think $1 is very, very doable. And here we are, just over a penny. So that's about 100x, little under 100x opportunity on this one. But again, that's long term, right? If you're buying Flare, you might have to hold it multiple years. H-bar, not a bad buy here either. Yeah, it's really hard to say. Like I said, I don't know your portfolio allocation. I don't know if you own said token. So things change quite a bit depending on your situation. But if you want to elaborate a little bit more, I can certainly take a look. Kind of crazy. I talked about the game schedule. Talked about the game schedule one for months ago. I wonder if it was made actually for what we think to bring the news and work around. I'm not sure what you mean. I question also, will XRP ever have a dividend return? It's not a stock, so no. Thank you. If you're talking about Ripple, the company, then yes, absolutely. And they probably are going to IPO at some point I think we'll get the announcement in 2025, and then 2026, you'll more than likely see the Ripple IPO. Again, don't conflate them. Ripple's a company with a CEO, a board of directors, right? And shareholders. Like, you can buy Ripple private equity if you're accredited. XRP is open to anybody on the planet. Anybody can buy XRP. It's a digital asset. It doesn't have a board of directors. It doesn't have a CEO. It's just alphanumeric code. And XRP was created before Ripple, the company, right? XRP is a digital asset, just open source numerical code. Ripple's a company that uses XRP, right? And it was created after XRP. So if your question is Ripple going to offer a dividend, then I would say yes. Ripple's going to be the most valuable company in the world, in my opinion. It will be bigger than Amazon, Apple, maybe even combined in terms of market cap. Like, I'm thinking it could be the first $10 trillion company. And I don't think it'll take that long to achieve it either. Maybe a decade or two. But yeah, I think it's going to be bigger than all these big tech companies. We're literally talking about all the money in the world that this company's trying to fix, right? Cross-border payments and the tokenization of everything, right? Tokenization of Bitcoin, even tokenization of gold, right? What's the problem with gold? It's big, it's clunky, it's heavy. Like, you can't travel with it, right? You can't jump on a plane with $1 million worth of gold, right? Or like $1 billion worth of gold. It'd just be too heavy, right? Unless you're the government and you're allowed, right? But if you're just a citizen walking around with $1 billion in gold, no, it's not going to be happening. You'll break your back carrying the freaking thing, right? So that's called a transportability problem. Whereas Bitcoin, if you can tokenize gold on or Bitcoin, because it's slow, right? Bitcoin's expensive and slow, so we can tokenize it on the XRP ledger with a tokenization, a digital representation. You can easily do that with the XRP ledger. It has a native DEX, and then gold as well, right? Thank you, Rod. I pre-ordered advanced study course. Yeah, I did see that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm still working on it. I've probably got 20 or 30 hours into it. And I'd say it's probably going to be close to 100 hours worth of my time before it's ready. So I'd say it's probably 20 to 30% of the way there. I've pretty much got the outline done. Now I just need to start recording it and then polishing it and then publishing it Yeah, it's gonna take me at least another month or two, I would say, before I get it done. I'm hoping to have it done in the next couple of months, but like I said, I've already put probably close to 30 hours into it, and yeah, it's a lot of work. So I think you'll be very happy with it. But thank you very much for the support. Soon looking to join the POW family. Yeah, well, I will be increasing the price to the POW Group private community. So I'm not sure when that'll be. It'll more than likely be in a couple months. So if you want to take advantage of that, if you lock in a price, it'll be locked in forever as long as you're a member. So something to consider. But we would be happy to have you for sure. We've got close to 50 members in there now, and yeah, that was one thing that if I just bring it up here, I can't remember where it was. Let me just see here. See if I can find it. Yeah, so Everett, shout out to Everett, Power Group private community member. He said that was a cliff. Hope all are doing well. At least we've seen it coming thanks to Pow Rod and Pow alerts. So, at the end of the day, I do this because I've seen, I've been through the ringer. I know what it's like. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't predict everything. But if I can come on here and warn a few people, at the very least, if you're not prepared financially, you'll be prepared mentally, right? And that's half the battle. So, if I can come on, or if I can help, a few different members, whether you signed up for $10 or $20 a month or whatever it is, you know, for a very negligible amount, right? It could save you thousands of dollars, right? And I can't count how many times I've heard people say recently that, this weekly bear flag that I called out saved people a lot of money, right? And talking about how tech stocks were overvalued, and just not that long ago, SPY was weekly overbought, and now we're into weekly oversold territory, and that's how quickly things can change. And I know a lot of people don't have a lot of experience with the stock market, and not there's probably not going to be that many people that weather this storm, right? People think that this is a really big sell off, but it's actually not. It's going to get a lot worse, right? So, but if you're wondering if now's the time to sell, well, again, I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or hold, but probably not the time to sell now, right? We just pulled back almost 20% on SPY. When SPY pulls back 10%, that's considered a bear market, right? So we're probably due for a massive bounce soon, but we're probably just going to form a lower high dead cat bounce and continue its descent, right? Nothing goes straight up. And I said, what was it? That was 2 years ago that I made that video, how I'm preparing for one of the worst, like it's going to be 1929 Great Depressionary style market crash, right? Might even be worse because we're way higher now, right? People don't talk about 1929, the boom before the crash, right? It was a massive boom, right? Of course you're going to have a massive crash. What goes up must come down. It's called, the law of, it's physics, it's gravity. So, but yeah, what was I was thinking of another video. I can't think of it now. It just slipped my mind. But yeah, if I can help, like I say, one, two, a few people, that it makes it all worth it, right? Because I remember what it was like being new, and this I'd be losing my ever loving mind today. I see people all the time. Like I seen it all the time today. It was every 2 minutes. It was like someone said, "I can't believe this sell off. This doesn't make any sense. This is brutal. The market's not making any sense. People are selling, buying things that don't make any sense, and they're selling off value." It's like, no, this we're still, from March 2020 to this sell off today, we're still up 130%. On average, we should only be up 70%, right? It's about 10% a year, 12% a year. So, by normal standards, we should only be in the 300s, maybe 400 on SPY. But because of irrational exuberance to the upside, we're still, from the low of C19, we're still up 130%, right? We're still up almost double what we should be, according to the average, right? The average return of the S&P 500. So that's why I say it's going to get a lot worse. And that's why, if you're looking at balance sheets, throw it out the window. It doesn't matter, right? If price goes up faster than you can imagine, well, it gets overvalued no matter what the balance sheet says, right? Doesn't matter what kind of valuation metrics you're using, price to earnings, whatever, right? If if we were down here, right, and this sell off, okay, well maybe you can justify that, but the move on Nvidia, like no, it's not worth that much money, and things get exaggerated to the downside, right? Look at MJ, right? Some of these companies in MJ, they have more cash than what their market cap is, right? Or like if they were to sell all their assets, right? The share price should be like $1 and it's trading at like 60 cents, right? So it doesn't make any sense. Same thing with the upside, right? When you get extended to the upside, it doesn't make any sense to the upside. And like I said, people are looking at the stock market today and they're surprised. Like, how are you surprised? And that's the benefit of knowing technical analysis as well. You were given 3 weeks heads up that we could see 514. And again, this isn't what Rod was thinking. This isn't what I wanted to happen. This isn't what I thought was going to happen. I'm looking at the chart and it's saying that more than likely is going to be the target. And then here we are. You literally can't make this stuff up, right? So mix your value investing, mix your fundamental investing with technicals and have an edge, right? You're just more dangerous. You're more informed, right? You can, if you want to buy, if you're Mr. Bull and you want to buy everything, well, you should want to get the best discount and price possible. So if you're looking at this and you're saying, oh my God, we're at 548, this is such a steal, people are dumb, I'm buying this fear. Well, if you knew a little bit about technicals with your fundamentals, right? You'd say, okay, well, I really want to buy this dip, but like value is saying buy it, but the technicals aren't. It's saying it's a bear flag, and I could get this thing, instead of buying it at 549, I could get this thing maybe 6 to 8% cheaper, right? Maybe I come play off 500 support, psychological. Maybe we play off this old double top at 479, old resistance becomes new support, right? And then you can get a better deal. That's all I just don't like. All I want to really hammer home to people is, I see tons of people buying the S&P 500, buying this, buying that, and they're saying, yeah, like this is so undervalued, but what's undervalued? It's just a figment of your imagination, right? That's why technicals come into play, because technicals, they do not care about a balance sheet or profitability or whatever your valuation metric is, right? The technicals are the technicals, the charts are the charts. So show me the chart and I'll tell you the news. And this tariff deal, it's not even that big of a deal, right? It's just a reason for the market to sell off. And like I said, Warren Buffett was selling records amount of cash, JP Morgan, right? Someone said Warren Buffett, what a legend, he timed the top. No, he is the top. When people like that with hundreds of billions of dollars sell, that marks the top. But when whales get, like when Warren Buffett, I was at a seminar, paid good money for it too, and this was probably 4 years ago now. It takes whales on average about 6 months to get in and out of positions to flip from net long to net short. So how long has it been now since the top has really been in? We had 3 months in a row where those upper wicks, it's been 5 months. It's been almost 5 months. So we're almost at that 6-month mark. All these whales are going to be pretty much net short now, right? So over the next month or two, look out below Geronimo, because it's going to be bad, right? There's nothing to keep. And if Congress gets banned from owning stocks, there's going to be no more reason to keep it up anymore, right? Nancy Pelosi will cry herself to sleep, but she probably won't be too disappointed because she's sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars after being able to do insider trading for decades, right? So, I mean, these people should be behind bars, right? If we did that, we'd be in jail for the rest of our lives. But when people who are making the laws do it, oh, that's just fine, right? A monkey could tell you that that's a terrible idea. So, anyways, hopefully that helps. What do you think about Nike stock? I haven't even looked at it, to be honest. Ooh, that can't be it, is it? Nike Inc. Here we go. NYSE. Yeah, so we're monthly oversold. So this would be not a bad time to buy, right? Again, not telling you to buy, sell, or hold, but this is generally a bad time to buy right when we're up here. This is generally a good time to buy when you're down here in the oversold territory. And we did have a descending triangle as well, so you can use the real candle bodies or you can use the wicks. I usually tend to use the real candle bodies, but that hit perfection. measured move was $54 and we just hit 52. So actually, no, I didn't have that perfectly aligned with the neck. So yeah, that's bang on. You literally can't make this stuff up. Anybody who tells you technical analysis doesn't work, they just don't know how to use the tools that we're giving them. So yeah, we were given a huge heads up. We lost the monthly uptrend. Again, what do I say about SPY? If we lose the monthly uptrend or confirm a monthly downtrend, that's the end. We're more than like 95% chance the top is in. We might see a pretty big relief rally. Everybody would be bullish again, but that's when we'll get bearish, right? Don't follow the herd. So low, high, higher, low, and higher, high, higher, low, and higher, high. Red flag was when we lost 144 and it was a double bottom. So that was clear monthly support, double bottom. And if we lost that, we were no longer in a monthly uptrend. If you went short there, that was a short opportunity at 42%. And if you still held that short, you'd be up 63% on that short, right? If you're down 63% and you're short, you're up 63%. If you're up 63% and you're long, you're up 63%, right? But yeah, very, very bearish. And I think it was a monthly bear flag here as well. Yeah, high, low, lower, high, lower, low. NKE. Yeah. It's yeah, we had the 50 and the 200 weekly moving average bear cross as well. That was a massive red flag. If you were in this thing here, and then we topped out right at the 100 and then the 200. So flipped, lost it, confirmed it as resistance, 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 usually the third time, and that's when you see blood, right? But yeah, just this alone, this 50 and the 200 weekly, when that happens on the daily, it's called a death cross. When it happens on the weekly, it's like Armageddon, right? And then sure enough, price was at 110. And then after those crossed, bounced around for a little bit, three strikes, you're out, bam, down into the 50s. But yeah, I mean, could be due for a massive relief rally here soon. Got no monthly resistance until 82 bucks. So, that's about 60% away. I wouldn't be buying it personally. I just think there's better risk to reward out there, but certainly not a bad time to be looking to add if you're looking at it. Afternoon, any comments on MSOS? Yeah, I've seen a lot of people very bearish on this one. Okay, so again, SPY was a weekly bear flag. I mentioned that. So if SPY is a weekly bear flag, we're going to look for weekly bear flags on everything. And we had a descending triangle here on MSOS. The target was $3. And then we had a weekly bear flag here, very weak bounce, high, low, lower, high. Take your measured move there from the high to the low, move it out to your 0.32 fib. I've been saying for how long that the target was around 222. Today we hit 208, right? Like, how long have I been saying this? MSOS. See, I said 306 next target. This was 3 months ago. And then I think, yeah, maybe in that video I mentioned that it was, it could go to $2, low $2. But that was 3 months ago. So where were we at 3 months ago? 3 months ago, we were at $3. So, and the high there, we're at like 383. Yeah, I've been saying for like, it was a weekly bear flag back here. So I was talking about this back in December, January. But again, people, once like this sideways actions here for like a month and a half, 2 months of sideways, people, they forget about it, right? But I had it drawn in my chart and I said, no, like we still haven't gotten above the 0.236 yet, let alone the 0.32 fib, right? We needed to get above 516 to negate it, right? And we just kept going sideways at $3-4. That means not good. And then SPY confirmed a weekly bear flag, and then that's what ended up bringing us here. But yeah, we're weekly oversold. We're getting close to monthly oversold. We're the most oversold we've ever been in the history of the ETF. There's a lot of people calling for the end of the fund. A lot of people are saying they should just end it. I think it's kind of silly, to be honest. Like, it's from its all-time high to the all-time low here, it's down over 96%. So essentially you're giving people your money to manage for you in a fund, in a portfolio that's managed by somebody else. They're charging you a fee to lose 96% of your money. Or even if you bought it here in April of 2024 and you're like, oh, I got this at 11 bucks and it was at 56, what a steal. Or you bought it here at 472, what a steal. You bought it at 472, you're still down 56%. So you're paying people a fee to lose 56%. You could just buy, like go to MSOS, Advisor Shares website, click on holdings and look at the top like 6 to 8 holdings. It accounts for like 90% of the fund. So why not just buy those 6 to 8 stocks and forget about it and not pay the fee? That like kind of silly really at the end of the day. So, but yeah, they might even end up liquidating the fund. Who knows? It's hard to say. But yeah, now we're at $2 support. After that, it's all time lows. So really, it's $1.50. A dollar after that. We might have another bear flag here on some of our lower level time frames. Yeah, we have an hourly bear flag here. So if we go from the high to the low of the dump, how do we know that's the low? Because every candle is a lower high. We didn't start the bounce. A bounce is just when you break the high of the previous candle, which we failed to do. So that's your swing high, swing low. Move it out to the 0.32 fib. So as long as we're under 231, it's a possible hourly bear flag. Get above 231, that negates it. Actually, yeah, we did confirm it. We had the lower high and the lower low. We just haven't seen much follow through. So lose 211, that confirmed it. We hit 20. It says 209. I thought we hit 205 today. But yeah, 211. So now it's saying bear flag target is 186. So we could see sub $2, right? And SPY closes the low of the day, low of the week. Probably not done selling yet. Probably gonna dip below 500, and then that will be probably another leg down for MJ and MSOS. PLTH, AYR, NEVI led the decline today, and the only bull on the list was IIPR. I've been sounding the alarm on AYR for a while now. I don't know if this company is ever gonna. They have a new interim CEO for like what 100th time. Yeah, it's a daily bear flag on this one. And we were targeting 15 cents. Today we hit 17 and a half. So I don't know. I wouldn't want to be touching this with a 1,000-foot pole. I think with all the debt that it has, it's getting out of certain states, focusing on Florida. I don't think that's a good idea. Truly, if it was the king and queen there, there's a lot of price compression. Tariffs are probably going to make it more expensive. LPs are getting into the game with hemp-derived beverages and products. Canopy just acquired acreage, so now we have Canopy and MSO under that holdings company in Canopy USA, Jetty and Wana. I think LPs are going to eat MSO's lunch. And I wouldn't be surprised if AYR didn't stick around for too much longer, unfortunately. Any thoughts on Virgin Galactic? Yeah, so that one was a monthly bear flag. We were looking at a potential inverse head and shoulders. That failed. We topped out right at the neckline like I expected we would, because we hadn't confirmed a daily uptrend. It was all coming off the lows, and we were still we were no longer in a daily downtrend, but we still hadn't confirmed a daily uptrend. And then I said if we lose the 384 level, which you don't want to pull back much more than 38%. So yeah, once we lost that 380 level, it was look out below, and then that's when the selling really started to accelerate, and here we are down 33% from there. But yeah, it was a daily bear flag target, 224. We confirmed the daily bear flag, and it was a monthly bear flag as well. And the target on the monthly bear flag is 222. 222, 224. So we're getting close to that. We have 253. And next, like I said, it was somewhere around that 225 area. I did add a little bit of SPCE today as well. I said I'd add closer to 250. I think the last time I added was around $3. The first time I added it, I think I added it around here, around 380. And then I added it again around $3, and I bought it again at around 250 today, 260. and I'll add maybe one or two more times, but I probably won't add it again until we get to at least that 225 level, that monthly bear flag target, and also the daily bear flag target as well. And then maybe I add somewhere around $2, but yeah, monthly oversold pretty much. So, hey Rod, with this drop, do you think Tilray will hit 47? Yeah, so I just did a video. If you haven't seen it, I just posted a video right before this one. Q3 earnings prep. And yeah, there is a bear flag on Tilray. And it's more than likely going to be tied to the broader market weakness, right? But zooming in to the daily time frame here, you can see it was actually a weekly bear flag. The target is 42 cents. Today we hit 55. So we're only, in terms of percentage, we're only about 23% away. So very possible. Mr. Mankey says, never in my lifetime did I think I would be putting MJ legalization as likely as nuclear war. Yeah, I mean, you're just talking about the US, right? What do you, us Canadians, we've been legal for almost 7 years at the federal level. It's insane. France has been one of the most conservative, and they're even making headway. Can we look at MPW? Sure. Yeah, this one's not too bad. Medical Properties Trust. Know nothing about it. Yeah, Real Estate Investment Trust. Yeah, okay. So REIT. Oh, it's pretty strong. It's in a weekly uptrend, so key support there at 475. Starting monthly consolidation. Bit of an inverse head and shoulders here on the monthly time frame. So not looking too bad, but you know, with the rest of the broader market being this weak, getting close to daily oversold, could be nice for a daily oversold bounce. MPW. Yeah, it's not looking too hot. We just lost the 10-week moving average. Stochastic bear cross. MACD could cross bearish in the next week or two. But the weekly moving average is, it's not looking too bad. Could go down to around 470. We just had a golden cross as well with the 50-day and the 200-day moving average crossing, but yeah, we might come back down around the, yeah, we got a lot of support around that 470 area. So maybe come back to 470 with the rest of the market being weak. And then that coincides with a bounce on SPY as well. So it's looking pretty good. I would say maybe another week or two of chop and potential leg down. And then we should see a nice relief rally on SPY in the broader market. And that should be a nice pop on this one as well, in my opinion. Matthew says, thanks, Rod. No problem at all. It's my dividend stock. Not bad at all. Yeah, it's holding up relatively well. Jam says I'm late. Hello everyone. Hello. Better late than never. Yeah, we're just wrapping it up, so might have to go back and watch it. My stomach isn't feeling too good today. I was out last night watching the Oilers game with some friends, and I went to this new joint, Original Joe's, here in Edmonton, and I'd never heard of it before, and it was pretty good. I ordered the ghost pepper chicken burger though, and it was hot. It was pretty spicy. So my my stomach has been bothering me all day today. But yeah, I better get going. I'm gonna have to start getting my daughter prepped and bathed and ready for bed. So bedtime is just over an hour away. I'll rewatch, no problem. Did you see my, yeah, no worries. Did you see my news link, Mr. Mankey? No, I did not. If you posted anything in the chat, it might not come through. If you posted a link, I don't think links work on YouTube. I think you have to be a moderator to do that, but something we can tackle in the future. If you want to email it to me or something. Get better soon. Thank you very much, Shama. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's just a little stomach, unsettled stomach. Like I said, the ghost pepper sauce. I don't even think most people could have finished it, but it was really, really good. I probably wouldn't get the ghost pepper next time though. The think it was the Nashville was the other one. Probably makes more sense. All right, going in it there. Happy Friday once again. Hope you have a fantastic weekend ahead. Like I said, folks, it could get a lot worse into to next week, but we're probably due for a relief rally at the very least over the next week or two. And then it's probably going to get bad again and a lot worse than many think. So time to start preparing yourself mentally and financially, whatever you need to do, emotionally, on MJ not being a priority. Yeah, I didn't see that. Get better. Thank you very much. It was on MJ Moment. Oh yeah, yeah. I seen. I shared that out in the Pow Group private community. All the I have it. So in Pow Group in the private community, I have, so like for example, here's an, I didn't post this. This is a new article that just came in for MJ News and the MJ Herald, MJ Moment, right? So I don't have to check any websites anymore. I've got like 12 or more publishers. So the MJ Herald, Green Market Report, MJ Biz Daily, MJ Moment, everything just comes in here and I get notifications on my phone. So anytime there's any news article, I'm basically finding out about it first, and everything's in here. You know, I used to check like 12 different news websites every day, and it's like, you don't need to do that anymore. Everything's all in one area, and it's filtered by MJ News, commodity news, crypto news. And like I said, we have like close to 50 members in there now. So yeah, if there's any article from MJ Moment, I've probably heard about it before anyone. All right, go and edit there. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. Shout out to all the VIP members as well on YouTube. And like I said, we'll see you on the next video. Take care. It's Rod with the Pow Group, and we'll see you on the Pursuit of Wealth next time.